Hey everybody, it's Joe. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Saab Doctor. Before I say what we're doing today, which you've already read in the title, I'm bad with this, I think it's down here. I have a question for you. Did you know that Saab Parts carries EBC pads and rotors? You didn't? I didn't either, actually. So if you're looking to do the brakes on your 9.3, 9.5, whatever it is, check out Saab Parts for both OE stuff and EBC pads and rotors. They are probably the only place that I would buy EBC parts from, mainly because you know that they're going to get it right. You know, you could order them anywhere on the web, but you may end up with the wrong size, you may end up with an issue, and they're definitely going to get it right. Anyways, I've made this way too long. Today we're going to do front pads and rotors on a 2008 Saab 9.3 Aero. This will be the exact same as doing it on any other 9.3 Sport Sedan, same tools, the whole 9 yards. Stay tuned. Check it out. Open these up. So the EBC stuff, this is actually 2 rotors in one box. Let me try and do this one-handed. These rotors are not light, and these are coated, and you can just run them as it is. Obviously, just give them a clean up with brake clean. And then I grabbed the red stuff pads because this is a daily driver. So got the pads and everything. I'm super excited. This is going to be way better than the brakes that are on there, which I'm pretty sure are stock and have 122,000 miles on them. Alright, so the combi is in, jacked up, wheels removed. All things you all can do on your own, easy enough. Let's inspect the brakes quick. I just realized that they're a lot worse than I thought they were, especially for not having any pulsation, which is really weird. So let's take a peek. Alright, so the driver's side. That is really bad, really pitted. Now this has been stored for a while, and you can tell that it's not really making contact everywhere. And this chunk is missing. So, I'm gonna bet the pads are stuck, and the reason why this is the only contact patch is because that's the only place there's enough friction material. And that's pretty bad. I can't believe I let it get this far. And this side is the exact same way, except not missing a chunk, but that edge is still pretty bad. There's a really good groove in here, it's hard to tell, but that lip is really, really big. Now, I think that these are probably factory brakes, just because we bought the car with 75,000 miles, and we haven't done the brakes. So, let's get going. I'll show you all how to do this. Okay, now this procedure is going to be specific to the 314 millimeter front rotors. However, this procedure in general is the same on any 9.3 Sport Sedan. It's just that specifically we might go through a few things that are only applicable to the 314 millimeter front brakes. I will explain what those are as we go through. Okay, so a few specialty tools that you may or may not need for this job. I always like to have things just in case. I don't think I'll be using the ratcheting wrenches I'm about to show you in the front, but I will be using them in the rear when we get to the rear video. First thing is an impact driver. Mainly that is for the small screw on the rotor when you give it a hit. These are ratcheting external Torx bits or wrenches and external Torx bits. I also always pull out the set of Torx and hex just in case. And I will go through all the sizes of this as I go through. Alright, so step one, or at least where I always start, I crack this screw free on the rotor. The reason I do this first is because sometimes you'll need to put a screwdriver in here and you want the caliper in the way so you can stop it. This is a 5 mil. Also, I like doing this first because it gives me an idea of what kind of a job I'm about to do. Now when you do this, you have to do this in a fast motion to try and crack this screw free. Nope, that's not going to happen. So, this is where this driver comes in handy. Now there is a last chance effort on this one too, but we're going to start with this and hope this works out. And it did. Perfect. Now, I'm not going to take this screw all the way out, even though I am loosening it up all the way. I'm going to take it, I'm going to put it back in, give it a few turns, because I want something holding this rotor in yet. I just want to make sure that loosened up first, because that can be a pain to get out if you're in the rust belt like I am. Next up, we're going to pull the 2 pins that hold the actual caliper in. Those 2 pins on this caliper, this is a 2-piece caliper, are a little bit further down. They're actually the caliper slides. Make sure to pull those and not the 2 bolts that actually hold the caliper together, because you don't want to have to re-bleed your brakes if you don't have to. Now the way you know which ones you want to remove is they're the ones that are under the black plastic caps. So you'll have 2, it's hard to see because I'm wearing black gloves, you'll have 2 of these caps. And these slides are a 7mm hex. I'm actually going to put the key in the ignition to unlock the steering column so I can turn the wheel this way to get better access. Alright, now having the wheel turned at an angle like this, you'll be able to more easily get behind the rotor to get all the bolts out. Because what we're going to do first is we're going to take off the caliper, then we're going to take off the carrier. Alright, and it looks like I'm going to need a short extension for this. Alright, you can tell that at least the first one hasn't been greased in a long while. Let me get the top one out. Now the trick to these is you can actually watch through the caliper holes to see how far out they are. And once they get to the end, you just pry them the rest of the way out with a screwdriver. Sometimes a screwdriver don't work. You need to just grab a needle nose pliers and just grab it. Alright, next up, I'm going to remove the anti-rattle clip. If you're wondering why I left this for now, right now that's what's holding the caliper on, and this is your friend at this exact moment. I need a bigger screwdriver for that. And look out, because those springs are pretty loaded. So, the way this one works is this one hooks into the front of the brake pad. I'll show you how it goes when we put it all back together. So, depending on how lucky you get, sometimes these come off by hand, sometimes you need a pry bar for them. And this one, the pads were sucked too far back, so I'm going to probably need to use more than the screwdriver on it, but we're going to try. Okay, we're getting closer. Oh, is it there? Nope, not 100%. There we go. Alright, well ourselves and the first owners definitely got our money out of these pads. These are complete and utter garbage. I probably should have changed these out about 10,000 miles ago, so that's my fault. I'll be honest, Sport sedans for some reason don't really vibrate that badly even when the brakes start getting bad. So I didn't realize they were this bad. So let me grab a caliper hanger, and then I'll show you how to get this bracket off, and then we'll take the rotor off. Alright, this is a Saab specific brake hanger tool. It's SP coat hanger. So what this is just a bent coat hanger. I left this little bend in here so I can take it, and when I wrap around the spring, which is what I'm going to do, I can loop it together, then that side will stay, and the caliper will hold there. Now the biggest thing you want to do when you do this, make sure you have a couple of hooks and then just be aware of where that is, because that could fall off at any point and you don't want to smash your fingers, because trust me, that's not fun. Alright, so normally I'd grab my 3/8 inch adapter and the half inch breaker bar, but I can't find the 3/8 inch adapter for the half inch breaker bar. So 3/8 breaker bar. And the persuader. Now, a lot of the time these are pretty hard to get off, so you're going to have to use some force, and it's going to be pretty uncomfortable. And my breaker bar is having a bad day. All right, I hope this has oh, it does have a lifetime warranty. Alright, fair enough. Okay, we will try something else. Plan B. Alright, since we have to stick with 3/8, I'm going to try this Craftsman ratchet, because at least I know it's warranted for life. And worst comes to worst, I break it. So, yeah, let's give it a shot. Oh yeah, the old Craftsman's got it. Alright, that's freed up. So with the bottom one freed up, start on the top one. Alright, and that wasn't too hard. Brackets off. Now this rotor should come off. Not easy at all, I'm sure. I love it in Wisp where it says just lift the rotor off. Alright. I'm using my specialized rotor lifting tool. Alright. Come on, you. And the rotor's off now. So, next up, we'll prep the hub, and we will prep the rotor. Alright, so this is about to be a do as I say, not as I do moment. What you're going to want to do next is clean up the hub with a wire wheel. Wear a face mask for this. I realized that I didn't have face masks after I started this project and went looking for one. So, alright, that actually looks like it's cleaned up pretty well. The other thing you want to clean up with a wire wheel is your brake caliper holder. Biggest things you want to clean up are the slides for the pads. I never paint these. I don't know. I don't paint them. Anyways, time to clean them up. All right, and then what I'll do is I'm going to hit this with a little bit of brake clean just to kind of finish wiping it down. So let's go clean up the rotor quick, and for cleaning up the rotor, quick spritz of brake clean, a little bit of paper towel, not a big deal. Luckily, these EBC rotors aren't greasy like most because they're coated. All right, now like I said, just a quick spritz of brake clean. And a nice wipe down. These aren't oily at all. You'll just want to do that on both sides. Alright, now this rotor is ready to go on. Alright, one thing I always do, I always add a little bit of disc brake quiet to the backs of all the pads. I will put this on now, let it tack up, and I'm just going to do 2 of them because you want it to be a little bit tacky when you actually put the pad in. Alright, now we're going to let that tack up for a few minutes. Let's go back to the car. Alright, now everybody has their favorite tool for compressing the calipers. I like this one because you just ratchet it, super easy. The one thing you want to do first, definitely don't crack the bleeder valve. All you're going to do there is run into more issues. Just pull the reservoir, brake reservoir cap off. That way, when the fluid comes back up, because it will go back up into the reservoir, you won't have it cracking the cap from the pressure. Now, some people will say, oh no, you're going to get stuff in the fluid or something like that. You won't. I've done this probably 100 times. No issues. And opening the bleeder will just cause issues because bleeders break or you'll get air in the system. So let's just crack that cap and let's get this caliper compressed. Okay, and when I say crack the cap, I literally mean open it, then just put it back on. Ew, that's kind of dirty. Probably have to do a flush at some point. Yep, definitely will. But you just crack it and just let it sit there. Alright, now with that cap cracked, what you're going to want to do, grab your caliper. And I always like to do this just before the rotor's on because you have a little bit more room. Take it, flip it over, set it there, put your tool in. Hang on. Make sure it's ratcheting the right way. Then you just slowly compress the caliper. And if you're met with a lot of resistance, you probably need a new caliper. This one's pushing in super easy. You're going to push it down until the piston is flush, and it stops. Yep, right there. Alright, just going to hang this back where it was. So the caliper is now all ready. So the caliper is all ready. Now let's get the rotor on. But because I live in the Rust Belt, what we're going to want to do first, anti-seize on the hub. You want to do that so that way the next time you go to take this rotor off, you don't have problems. Honestly, that's probably enough. The biggest place it's going to get caught is around the hub. And now I've got enough anti-seize on me to probably become the Tin Man. So, get this new rotor on here. Put it in place, line it up. Grab your set screw. Now the difference on the way in is you're going to take this and you're going to tighten it down as much as you can. You're not going to want to use this the whole way. Perfect. Alright, rotor's on. Let's grab the caliper bracket, put it back on. Once again, this uses your E20 Torx. Alright, at this point we're going to grab the pads to put those in. Before we put those in, or when we put those in, we're actually going to put a little bit of ceramic brake lube. Where's the front of this? Ceramic brake lube on the front of them. Or, sorry, on the slides, not on the front of them. Alright, grab a little bit of ceramic brake lube. Just right where it slides. And just right where it slides on this side too. You don't want any on the friction material. You want nothing on the face here. Just on the two slides. Same with the back one. Alright, now this is specific to 314mm cars. What you have is, this is the actual clip that holds your anti-rattle clip in. This one goes on the outside, and you need to put these 2 pads in the caliper before putting them on the caliper bracket. And I almost put them on backwards. Here we go. And then this one clips in as well. All right, once that's all clipped in, and you make sure it's clipped in. Ooh, these do not want to stay clipped in, do they? Come on, you. Alright, once they're clipped in, and they stay clipped in, you take them and you seat them. Sometimes they take a little bit more force to seat than you'd think. Now those are in, which is perfect. Then, you want to grab these 2 slides, check them for cleanliness. I'm actually going to take these and give them just a quick cleanse with some brake clean, and then we'll lube these up and put them back in. Alright, I'm back, they're clean. A little bit of lube on this. Sometimes they take a little bit of wiggling around to get them seated right. Alright, with those 2 back in, you want to make sure to put your 2 caps back on, your 2 black caps that go over those. Add your anti-rattle clip. Perfect. This one's back in. I always just double check that they're in by giving them like a rattle backwards. I really, really hope that most of this was caught on camera now. And then you're done. So I did the driver's side first. You could do the passenger side first if you want to. After that, put your brake reservoir cap back on. Make sure to pump your brakes a few times before driving anywhere. Then your brakes are done. So, needs a handful of tools. I will put all of the tools that I used in the description below. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and Saab on, folks.